Let's talk about the shadow. What is the shadow? Inside Temple of the Wild Wanderer this month, November 2020, we're doing a lot of shadow work where we dive into the dark, meaning the unseen parts. The shadow does not mean we're diving into the evil or the bad, if bad exists. It means we're diving into our unseen parts. What has been rejected inside of us, relegated to the dark corners where it will not be shown the light of day. These are not the parts of us that we're ashamed of and we consciously hide. These are the parts of us that usually when we were younger or as an adolescent, we pushed away. They were not safe for us to embody. So we turned them into this demon that we pushed away. It may have been a part of us that was our personal power. It may have been our creativity. It may have been our ability to speak up for ourselves. Somewhere along the line, in order to survive or in order to feel like we could receive love and avoid shame, we had to push those parts of ourselves away. So we're exploring that this month inside Temple of the Wild Wanderer, but I wanted to share a little bit about it and share a poem I wrote about a year ago about diving into this shadow work. Bill Plotkin writes in his book Wild Mind that our shadow, these dark, suppressed and repressed unconscious pieces of ourselves, are actually integral in order for us to reclaim our true power, to reclaim our passion. Usually within the shadow, we have an aspect of our passion that was cast out because in order to fully embody our passion, whether it was dancing, singing, or loving ferociously, that we would experience shame if we fully did that because of the way that our society traps us in these boxes, traps us in these chains that keep us from living our truth because it is not socially acceptable. We have to keep everything wrapped up nice and tightly, a perfectly wrapped box with ribbons. And in order to fully be our wild, true, authentic selves, well, that can be dangerous. So this shadow exists. But it's so important to reclaim these lost parts of ourselves because that holds the treasure for us to truly become who we are meant to be, to become the full expression of ourself and to fulfill our truest potential here in this life. So many people walk through this entire life feeling unfulfilled and feeling as though they have not met their true potential. Now, of course, external circumstances will always exist, and some have it much easier than others do. But we all can do this work and small practices to reclaim the pieces, the lost pieces of ourselves, and live a more authentic life. I wanted to share this poem. So I'll read it. Maybe you want to close your eyes to fully feel it. And we'll talk about shadow in autumn. The autumn is the time when we can fully dive into the depths because the autumn is the time of death. It's the time of dying. It's the time of going into the dark. Just like the trees are shedding their leaves and preparing to go into the void of winter. So we too can access this transformative death and rebirth aspect of ourselves, which is necessary with shadow. So here's a tiny taste of what shadow work means. As the days grow shorter and darkness comes to play, will you turn toward her or will you turn away? The thing about shadow is she can be gentle or fierce, a slight whisper that calls you, or a shrill that can pierce. The ears, they hide secrets under corn husks unseen. What lies do you hide in that smile and between the rows of plump pumpkins, the flesh and the bone? In autumn, she calls you to wander alone. For alone she can find you. In stillness is truth. The shadow she beckons, she's the one of your youth, the one you've forgotten in the distraction and din. She's come back to haunt you, to unite you again. You can fight, beg, or plead, or turn toward her at last. This shadow won't hurt you. She's come because you asked. You asked to feel whole, to be good, to be healed. Will you do what it takes to keep your fate unsealed? Will you stand in the darkness? Will you stir up the muck? To release what's been hiding, to free what's been stuck? This is her medicine, should you choose to accept. To embrace all her teachings, even weep tears unwept. To face her with bravery, turn toward her with love. This shadow's no demon, nor sent from above. In the darkness you see her, what you feared might be true. Except now you're not frightened, the shadow is you.